It was December of 2011 when I picked up the Seiko SKX 173, the watch that got me into watches. I'd say it was all downhill from there, but I think I've managed to contain myself relatively well when it comes to watch enthusiasm. I'm more practical when it comes to collecting, and I don't really even consider myself a collector since I really like to wear what I have. I do tend to lead towards a sentimental side, hence the Seiko SKX 173 on my wrist today. That's been a part of my horological journey for the better part of the last 14 years. Although a lot has happened between then and now, I remember choosing the Seiko after hitting the watch forums and getting a better idea of what kind of watch I wanted. I wanted something that was rugged, durable, and cool looking, and most importantly, mechanical. At the time, I only had limited experience with some Timex quartz watches, and the SKX felt like a huge bump up. I remember paying roughly $250 for the SKX off Amazon, and in a few days, the watch showed up. It came on a rubber strap, which immediately got me searching around for other options. I ended up buying a W Jean Super Oyster bracelet, which looking at it now is more jangly than it is super. A single pass leather NATO, and I didn't really know at the time that leather on a dive watch was a faux pas, and a chunky military style NATO from County-Com. And for me, that was all I needed at the time. A solid watch, a few strap options, and that's it. Man, times were simpler. The Seiko SKX was a springboard for me, launching me into the world of watches. Pretty much everyone who is or was into watches has a similar story regarding the SKX. They were the place to start if you wanted a mechanical watch, but a lot has changed in the last decade. The rise of micro brands, and I do not say that as a pejorative, has presented us with tons of affordable options with spec sheets that rival watches many times their price. Brands have moved up market, some brands have closed down, and the space remains inclusive, whether you're looking to spend $100 or $10,000 on your watch. About 5 years ago, Seiko made the call to discontinue the SKX lineup, which sent shockwaves through the watch community. Some were outraged, some said good riddance. Was the SKX no longer cool, no longer with it? Could the specs and styling not hold up to more affordable options that were cropping up all the time? The answer is sort of. It's a mix of all of the above. What the SKX was a true diver's watch that met the ISO 6425 standard for what a dive watch should be. While the standard is lengthy, the main points are as follows. It should have at least 100 meters of water resistance, even though the SKX has 200, luminous paint on the hour markers, a pip in a unidirectional bezel for timing minutes underwater, clear markings every 5 minutes on the bezel, a running seconds hand with lume to ensure that the watch is working, shock and magnetic resistance, and the list goes on. To put divers on the dial, the watch has to meet these specs in order to be considered a reliable tool that could be used in a life or death situation, like swimming around at depth with an air tank on your back and no air around because you're underwater. The classic Crown at 4, chunky yet sleek case of the SKX disappeared from Seiko's lineup for a little while until it re-emerged in the Seiko 5 Sports lineup. Again, shockwaves. Upon the release of the watch, the enthusiast community was outspoken about how the watch was no longer a real dive watch, and in a lot of ways they were right. The spec sheet was bumped down considerably, but the watch still looked the part. They were basically a dive watch without the full list of specs. So a whole bunch of trendier, more fashion-forward styles of the watch came out, vibrant colors, blacked out cases, different strap options. They felt more like a fashion accessory than they did a real tool watch. I did a hands-on article with a few of them when they came out, which you can check out, link below. And I'm not sure calling them dive watches in the headline was the right move, but I believe that's something to do with how Seiko was naming them at the time, so don't come at me too hard. The Seiko SRPD series is still in production today and lists around $325, which seems like a decent deal for an automatic watch on a bracelet. While it has some shortcomings compared to the SKX of the past, there's still a lot to like. But what if you want a full-on dive watch from Seiko, something that can proudly sport divers on the dial that both walks the walk and talks the talk? The answer is that there are still a ton of options, but they're going to cost you a little bit more than the humble SKX. Seiko has broken their lineup down into categories, with the Pro Specs being the home to all the tough tool watches you could want. There are plenty of options for an automatic diver, with some starting right around $500, like the SRP L13. It's worth noting that a lot of the C-branded Pro Specs hover closer to $1,000 and even exceed that at times too. When you consider that the entry-level Seiko dive watch was only $275 a decade ago, which according to a sketchy online inflation calculator is $396 today, it's really not too far off when it comes down to it. The Prospex lineup has a lot to like and even includes in the technical data section of their pages that they follow the ISO standards and are suitable for scuba diving. With my personal background being in industrial manufacturing, I understand that there's a lot of thought that goes behind discontinuing a product. Is the replacement good enough? Will the customers complain? What kind of backlash will we face? I've been there and it's never an easy decision, but you move on based on the fact that you believe you have a superior product coming down the line that people will embrace. There's usually plenty of data to back an informed decision, and while at the time it may have felt brash and weird for Seiko to discontinue one of their most iconic watches, the truth is that I think we've all moved on and I think we're all going to be okay. Whether you're going to look for a different Seiko or another brand altogether, the sub $500 watch space is alive and well, especially if you're looking for a dive watch. Now back to the SKX 173. It's still running, it still looks great, and the scratches tell the stories. Let's be real, they're not really stories. I've slammed it into door jambs and car doors and dropped it and a million other things, but that's the story of a watch that's well loved. Although it doesn't get nearly as much wear as some of my other watches, it will never leave my collection. I'll always have a soft spot for the Seiko SKX lineup because it is the watch that started me on my path here. I'm sure the seasoned collectors among us will continue to talk about the good old days where you could buy an SKX for a few $100 and be on your way. But that next generation probably won't tell the same story. They'll be talking about the awesome micro-brand diver that they picked up in person from the owners of the brand, and maybe that's what sold them on the watch, or something on their Instagram Explore page that they took a chance on, and that's totally okay too. The truth is, things have changed since the SKX has been discontinued, but I don't necessarily think that we're any worse off than we were before. I'm Jelley, contributing editor at Worn and Wound. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and let us know your experience with Seiko in the comments below. Are we okay in a post-SKX world, or are things terrible? I don't know. Drop a comment and let's start the conversation.